Hey everybody, welcome to B&B Banter Bros Goes to the Movies. This is Aaron Banyan.
Timothy Bennett here.
Jason Chandler.
And today, since Aaron was taking over hosting duties, we are going to do The Map of Tiny Perfect Things, which is a movie on Amazon Prime, which was, one moment, was written by Lev Grossman, who wrote The Magicians, the book series, which was eventually adapted into a series on Sci-Fi.
But he wasn't part of the...
He wasn't part of the series, I don't believe, but he wrote the books.
I watched the first 3 seasons of Magicians on Netflix.
Yeah,
the first 2 were really
like,
good, and then it got weird.
I think the book is only it's only 1 or 2 books. I don't think there's that much to mine from it. So they've really
Yeah, that makes
Sci-Fi's
sense.
really been running with it.
That shit got weird in season 3, and I was like, I'm good. But like the premise of it was fun in the beginning.
Yeah. So this movie, it's brand new. It was made this year. It was released on February 12th. It was written by Lev Grossman based on a short story that he did by the same name, apparently.
It wasn't based on Groundhog's Day or Palm
No,
Springs.
even though they mention it quite a few times in the movie.
They do. They own up to it for sure.
And Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow and Groundhog's Day are the two. We watched it, didn't we? You and I watch it?
Maybe. I mean, I own it.
Tom Cruise, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt.
Huh.
No, we watched some other Tom Cruise movie. Where there was like, that one had clones in it, though.
Oh, Oblivion.
Yeah, that was the one we watched.
I believe they actually came out. Oh no, they came out years apart. But yeah, you were thinking Oblivion, which is a futuristic film as well.
Yeah. Time loops versus clones really is the big difference.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. So where to start as far as the podcast goes? This is not usually my forte, so usually I let Tim run this stuff.
A little out of his element.
Yeah. Initial thoughts?
Of the film?
Yeah. Not of my hosting duties. We know those are garbage.
Well, if you're asking me if I liked it, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't original by any means, and it had a lot of cliche kind of typical
tropish stuff,
tropish things, but it wasn't done in a manner that kept you like they weren't trying to be original necessarily. It was very appropriate. I thought everything that was going on.
Shit, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it wasn't bad. I liked it. I didn't. Yeah, I rolled my eyes at some trolls here and there, but it seemed like they knew what they were doing, and they weren't trying to fucking
Be something they weren't.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously that was very clarified when the motif of Groundhog's Day they kept repeating. So
I think they summed that up in like his first conversation with his friend playing the video game.
You talk about all the fallbacks of a time loop.
I guess we should probably explain what the film is about.
True.
Yeah.
Real quick.
See, this is why I don't host. But yeah, so essentially starts with the kid's name is Mark, I believe.
Yeah.
Mark and Margaret.
Yeah. So Mark wakes up, and then you quickly get the idea that Mark knows way too much about what's going on. But essentially,
Way too in sync with the world.
Yeah. Mark is stuck in a time loop on a single day. It ends right at the stroke of midnight. He wakes up same morning over and over again. We don't really get a grasp on how long he's been doing it, but it's been long enough that he's
got shit down.
He's got shit down to a science for the most part. And he's at the beginning of the movie, he's trying to hook up with some young girl that he meets on the street.
This Asian girl that is lost, and then he runs into at the pool. That was kind of...
That was entertaining for at least a little bit.
And the way they interrupted that was nice.
Yeah.
How they introduced
Margaret, yeah, was very interesting.
I will say I did like later on when you see like how long it took him to get that pattern, to memorize that pattern.
That's
all
true.
The mistakes.
The flashbacks were nice.
He like just holds her hand at one point, and then he's like, that was, and then gets hit by the. It was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good. I thought the initial contact with the young girl, they're walking home, and he's like going off about something nerdy.
The The comparison of the sun and the moon and the solar eclipse.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
explaining that the difference of distance basically equivalates to the same size.
Right.
And he was going all nerdy, and she's just
Yeah, and just like I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is not a conversation you want to have with the lady you're trying to impress." And then he asked her out, and she goes, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
So I was like,
this is
"Well done. That's the appropriate response."
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so Mark quickly, he's introduced to Margaret through her interrupting one of his many attempts at wooing this other girl.
But shows us that she's stuck in the same time loop.
Yeah, because she essentially like doesn't.
She's a variable.
Yeah, she does stuff differently. Like everyone does the same thing every day except for her. She happens to have done it once in all the times he's tried.
She disrupted his loop.
Yeah, she disrupted his loop.
She caught the beach ball when he was supposed to.
he quickly tries pursuing her to find her to kind of maybe make a connection with someone who knows what's going on. And he quickly falls for her, which is very evident.
Yeah, I guess so. It was quick, but he hit it.
He hit it well enough, but it was pretty.
But there, yeah.
It was just evident
You
that
saw
like,
it happening, but then it wasn't quick where he was like, "I need to make this happen. I'm gonna fucking."
It wasn't even about falling in love. I think
It was a commonality.
it was a connection.
Yeah.
Like he wanted that connection where like someone else knows what's up, so I can have a conversation that's not going to be something I have to have again.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's the way I saw it. That's why I was trying to push back on the word quick, because he got her phone number and like was excited just to have a friend to have something new because he's living the same fucking day
the
or
haircut
whatever.
montage that precedes that or follows that was actually very entertaining, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so through their connection and the burgeoning friendship, he starts trying to find ways to spend time with her because she keeps disappearing every day at 6 o'clock, I think it is.
Yeah, basically it was
6 or 7,
definitely like a particular time that she keeps getting her phone gets blown up all the time, and then she ends up eventually leaving.
Yeah, she always says, I have to go. She won't really reveal why. And he starts trying to find ways to spend more time. The whole concept of finding these tiny perfect moments, it occurs when she shows him they're discussing the really cool things or really like phenomenal things that they've done through the loop.
Those
And
little beautiful things in life.
yeah, well, I
during
mean,
the
they're
day.
walking through like a bookstore and like he's showing that like he's done this enough times. He knows when things are happening. So like he like pushes a
the
cart to
cart,
catch
yeah.
some books, does like hands out random things to people that like
Stops
he knows
that
they want.
dude, so the bird shit misses him.
Yeah, and so she shows him this moment where she watches an eagle catch a fish. And he quickly the next day comes up with this idea of, there's all these tiny perfect moments in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, like what if what we're supposed to do is see them all? And so that becomes the idea, is that they'll go and find all of life's tiny perfect moments. And so they proceed to do that. That's a small portion of the movie, but she keeps disappearing every day at 6 o'clock. And he's, obviously his feelings are growing more and more, and eventually.
We also don't realize how long they've been hanging out either. It's
Right. Yeah.
It's definitely been a while
Because
they treat like tomorrow as if it's pennies.
Mm-hmm.
Pennies to $1. So it's.
Yeah, and a number of times, like you notice that they're so in sync with the way the day works. Like they're just like dancing through certain areas. Like
That's my
missing
favorite
people.
part of this film is that the camera angles, how they dance, and they do everything smoothly. Tim, you could probably say this better than me, but like the camera angles follow him and pan around, and he's just like when they go to that restaurant and they're just having this conversation, and he's like garnishing a plate, throwing it in the window. I'm not painting this picture well, but.
I know what you're talking
It's
about.
such a smooth
The
sequence.
It's seamless.
choreograph is very smooth and very.
Yeah, and it's probably
On
one of
point.
the most unique things about the thing. But I mean, you get the gist of it right away in the breakfast time with his dad and his sister, and him doing all that fucking silly, smooth, showing off type of thing.
Right.
But then later you learn like, oh, he's done this a million times, so now he's just being slick. And there's moments in bookstores and the restaurant and other things that they do it like 4 to 6 times, and it's just the most entertaining part of the movie for me.
He says it, but that just like emphasizes all these little things. But he says, "I've got this whole town on lock."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was something that really shows like, oh, man, this guy's probably been doing it he's probably been stuck in this loop for months and months and months.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like they even point out, he's like, you only have 16 hours in a day to do shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not a long time.
Yeah.
If you really want to break it down, it's not a lot of time.
Right.
It's not very long. It's not a lot. 16 hours can go like that, unless you have nothing to do.
Right.
So
You can fill 16 hours if you really want to.
and that's what he's done. And like the fact, I don't know, they don't tell you, but you definitely get a sense. It's been a long time he's been doing
Well,
this.
he's learned how to operate heavy machinery.
Right? Yeah. He keeps stealing. By the way,
Where are the cops?
did anybody else go, why does he keep taking that? You don't find out till later why he takes it. And it's only one little clip like halfway through the movie. Why he keeps taking the big machinery.
To save the cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
that was that thing.
that's
It
yeah.
took me a minute to remember it, but
Right.
I mean, but that's
But
he's even
I
stealing
thought-
different heavy machinery. Like he's
thought-
got the steamroller with Margaret.
I
Yep.
thought when he saved the cat, that was the first time he saved the cat, because during that montage, he was
That was
he was giving the lottery ticket to the lady instead of him getting the praise.
he was thinking
using the
about other
tiny.
people.
He was dancing with the old lady. He was like using these tiny perfect moments to make other people happy instead of him.
So
It's the way I
maybe
saw
it was
it.
his first time saving the cat. And
But yeah,
he's
he'd
just
always
stealing
drive
this-
it up to like a restaurant door,
Yeah.
and like just
He's either
it would
driving a
stop. You're
bulldozer-
right. It was very unclear why he was grabbing that fucking thing.
Other than the fact that he just wanted to do it.
He could. That was it. I think that literally was just it. Was he could.
Yeah.
But moving forward, so they are getting closer, doing all these things, and then he starts trying to woo her, I guess would be the right way to say it.
This is after they,
Romanticize.
because they start tracking all the tiny things,
Mm-hmm.
and he's secretly drawing a map. But woo her, he like does that school thing with the whole on the moon thing, right?
Because she's interested in aeronautics and wants to be a mission commander,
Mission specialist.
mission
Oh
specialist.
yeah,
Just fancy way of saying astronaut.
yeah.
Um,
But did they already find? Were they done looking for tiny perfect moments? Do they think they found them all at this point?
I think this was like because I believe it's after he's drawn the map.
She hasn't seen it yet.
Well, he says he draws it every day.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
that's what I mean.
This is Mark's turmoil besides wanting to be closer to Margaret and her not really reciprocating the feelings as well. She's being very evasive, very standoffish in a lot of ways.
Being friendly but distant.
Yeah. He is basically plagued by the fact that his parents want him to go into like a math specialization for college, and he wants to be an artist.
That would suck to have that talk with your dad every day.
You're right.
He says it. I don't want to do it today.
He's like, I wish I just had a different day than the day he chose to have the talk with me.
And that one time he like waits till like damn near midnight and he has to talk, and he's like whatever. He shows him the tattoo. He's like, what? I forget how he says it, but
Oh yeah, by the way, Dad.
check this out.
Yeah.
That was funny to me.
And through this, the tropish, the tropish breaking of the bond essentially happens towards this area of the movie. Margaret and Mark decide that they're in a time singularity, and that if they get far enough away, the singularity will stop, and they can get out of the time loop. So they book a flight to Japan. And they
she
get on the
bails.
plane, and she somehow because he puts an eye mask on, is like joking, and in the 30 seconds he has the fucking eye mask on,
She Batman.
she just night crawls her way out of there, and then texts him. I don't know how she got off the plane and into the like whatever, and was able to text him.
Terminal.
And the 30 seconds he had the fucking eye mask on.
Well, he was talking a lot.
Valid.
He was very distracted with himself.
Yeah.
But still, like that's just there's too much. That's too much stuff in that amount of time to get off the plane and get through the stewardesses or flight attendants. Sorry, and everything. That time didn't line up. But anyway,
She probably did it as soon as he put the mask on.
it's valid. But anyway, so that's where the bond is kind of broken. Then you get Mark having a bit of an emotional awakening, I guess, because he has this weird discussion with his sister. And she explains that some stuff that was going on that he didn't know about. And then she says, you should, pay more attention to other people instead of just caring about yourself. Because this whole time, he's really been bemoaning his own fate.
Yeah.
And then you find that comes down to him actually participating in all these perfect little moments.
Yeah.
He's, instead of just observing them, he's trying to be active.
He goes to his sister's.
Goes to his sister's soccer game. He's dancing with the old couple. He tries skateboarding,
Yeah.
which brings him to the hospital where he sees Margaret. And that's where you find out that Margaret's mother is dying of cancer. No, what happened next?
He basically sneaks off.
Yeah, he
And-
slinks off. And then, does that where we kind of go to Margaret's standpoint?
Yeah, that's where she starts to have that dilemma of like not wanting to accept that she has to accept that her mom's going to die
Right.
and all that stuff.
But yeah, so through all that, this is where you find out she's dying. Margaret can't handle it. And you'll find out the cause of the singularity is Margaret not being able to handle the fact that her mom was dying. Pardon me. And so obviously she comes to grips with it. And they live after they live after. That's just basically the end of the movie. It's a short summation. Maybe not short as it should have been, but it's a summation. Yeah, anyway, so that's the gist of the movie. So getting into it.
It's a time loop movie.
Yeah, it's a time loop movie.
Yep. I will say though that one of my only problems with this movie was Palm Springs came out last year,
Mhm.
and it's another time loop movie, and I think it was just one of those like almost too close together.
Yeah.
for preference.
Exactly.
But
I go with that, yeah.
it was done, and because I thought that Palm Springs was done very original.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then I see this one and I'm like, this was not trying to be original at all.
I
But
don't think
it was still good.
I don't think the time loop part was supposed to be original. I think it was the story within the time loop. I
Don't
guess.
even think that was original.
No?
It's still every
Yeah.
other. Look at Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
Same
it's
concept.
It's all about
Palm
that
Springs,
transition to
same
be a
thing.
better person.
Yep.
Make these changes to get out of the loop. Yeah.
Yep.
That's valid. I'll give you that.
There's nothing
It just
really
sucks, like-
original.
If you're gonna battle against Palm Springs, it's not gonna win.
Well, no, but the point was like, I think that was the one kind of hesitation. It's like, oh, another time loop movie.
Yeah.
I will
Kind of
say, and this is jumping way ahead in the movie,
It's
but
like they
when-
did it for millennials or whatever. Yeah. Because these kids were 17.
yeah. I will say that the one thing I really enjoyed that I thought was really good about this movie, I enjoyed the movie overall, but the one thing I really enjoyed was when after he and Margaret have separated, and Mark is talking to his friend for the 20th time in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and he's giving this rundown, and he finally just says, "It wasn't my story to tell.
Yeah.
It was Margaret," and that's when you jump to Margaret's side of the story. I thought that was actually really good. That was actually probably my favorite part of the movie. That little spiel.
Yeah, those stakes weren't high enough for me. Like, I don't know. I guess you're 17 and you're supposed to think about yourself.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's just like we've talked about before. Everyone's out for themselves. So, and like the way Bill Murray did it was fucking hilarious. And he was an adult and rude and
Bill Murray
Yeah.
was out for himself, and you knew it right away.
exactly.
And then his whole point for him was to
He made it fun.
not be such an asshole, self-centered
Mhm.
asshole.
And this guy was just like,
I think the one thing about this being this 17, because you're dealing with kids,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
younger kids in high school, like reaching the adulthood thing, and you really got the sense of like they're stuck
Mhm.
in a spot, not even dealing with a time loop. their age,
Yeah.
they're graduating high school, supposed to
Yeah.
go off, find a career. They're stuck in a kind of parameter of what life is supposed to be for them.
Yep.
And they want to do what they want to do, but everybody else has this other expectation. So it's like stuck. And I think that's
The metaphor.
a giant metaphor for what the film was showing is that
Sure.
there are so much more than just this. And like, even though they keep having the same conversation, not in the loop, but you know that this is like a continuous conversation with Mark and his dad or his family about what are you doing with your future. Every single kid has that with their parents. What are your plans for after high school?
Yep.
What are you gonna do? You know, it's a continuous conversation
Mhm.
that just keeps going on loop and loop and loop because nobody fucking knows. And that was kind of like this giant metaphor. That
Yeah.
I felt was pretty appropriate,
I'd go with that.
especially on her end. She knew what she wanted to do, but what was her problem? She
Couldn't do it.
couldn't accept. So
Right.
she was on this loop, and everybody kept telling her the same thing. You got to accept it. You got to move on. You got to
Mhm.
it's gonna happen, and yet she couldn't. But she was, you know,
Dude,
on
those
this loop.
stakes were high enough for me. I got that. That was
Yeah.
my like. Okay, this movie means something now.
Yeah. Being a
'Cause-
kid that like lost his mom to cancer.
Right.
Like I was 13, 12 or 13.
hmm
So I mean that I got.
And especially
For
having
sure.
a fucking time loop deal with that shit every fucking
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Not being able to accept it. I mean, yeah, I got that part for
Yeah.
sure.
And that's something that I think that was unique about this film is you had two people
Yeah.
stuck in one world, right? Now, Palm Springs had the same thing, but this case you had one person who embellished and explored and, you know, loved this time loop, and
Mhm.
that would be her, Margaret.
Yeah.
And then you had one who wanted
Oh.
to he was trying to exploit it, but he was trying to do it in a manner that got him to move forward.
Yeah.
He was basically getting tired of it and he wanted out.
Yeah.
But you know, like she had a reason to want to keep in this loop.
Right.
He didn't, other than he didn't want to accept that he had to do something with his life either. But he just didn't want, like, he wanted out of the whole he was bored. His bored.
Right.
Basically all it was. He was bored with what was going on.
He was so. I think there was also like that bit of like resentment towards his father because throughout the whole movie he talks about the fact that his dad quit his job to write this stupid Civil War book. I mean, and it's not until he has the conversation with his sister and she's like, you know, he got fired, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, he's just too proud to tell you. And that is really where you start to see his shift.
Mhm.
And that's where he starts to participate in the perfect moment instead of just watching him.
Which I thought was good.
Yeah.
I actually really thought that whole conversation with his sister, although
Yeah.
predictable and a little, you know, cliche, it just showed you how self-centered he was, how focused he was on himself.
Yeah.
And I think
And
that's
even that conversation he had with that lady in the beginning of the movie about the son, like he was talking about things that only he cared about. He didn't even
Right.
fucking give a chance to like ask her what she cared to talk
He
about, stuff
dominated
like
the
that.
conversation.
So yeah, he definitely.
and that whole situation played into when he was falling for her and wanted to kiss her and all
Yeah.
that, but she didn't want it,
hmm
and that he couldn't accept it, and yet
Because yeah,
take it
when it
because it was
comes-
all about him.
when it comes to the love story that happens at the end of the movie that they really indulge or flesh out or get into deep, because it's like off and on love story here. He tries, but she's not in the mood or whatever, or in the right mind state. But at the end, it becomes a full on love story.
Mhm.
And he had to go through that transition to
Make the moment perfect.
yeah, actually, there it is.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I think that boils down to that conversation he has with I can't remember the name of his friend. I feel like it's Gus, but I don't know if that's right. Sam?
I don't remember.
I don't
Anyway.
know.
His friend. And
The entire time I was looking at him, was like, he must have watched House Party or something.
I loved his hair, man.
little kid and play.
yeah,
Yeah.
he had that
It's a
big
flat
old
top
flat
or
top.
whatever. Yeah. That shit was
playing
awesome.
that weird war fight, I think was the name of the game, which looks like a combination of Gears of War and Halo.
Yeah, it was war fight, they called it.
But then when he talks about it, he's like, it's not my story to tell. Like, I was so focused on everything like that was going on. That's really the shift in that character. And I think that was just, I don't know, I enjoyed that part. But yeah, like to make everything perfect, he had to like start participating in life.
Yeah. I was just like, come on, man. You went this long and you didn't even like talk to your sister.
That fucked me up for a minute too. I was
like, oh man, I don't know. Just little things where people are assholes. I get it, but I don't know.
17-year-olds are dicks anyway, but
true.
This is my biggest pet peeve. My biggest pet peeve about this film, I had a hard time with, and I just was like, whatever. I accepted and just moved on. But they tried the dialogue. Between the two characters especially is basically they tried to make themselves sound so much smarter and more complex than they really were. The conversations that they had, these complex conversations that they were having, aren't really that complex. But they were, the way that the dialogue and the way that the writing was, it was almost a little bit too forceful into trying to make you feel like this is
you weren't in awe of their discussion of the fourth dimension.
That's what I was
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, you can ask Kaylee when she's like, "Did you know that the fourth dimension has a shape?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a square inside like another square."
Yeah,
I know that, and not everybody's gonna understand that. I get that, but that was my issue. Was they're trying to relate to what Kaylee says. This actually, I'm using her words. It's like they're trying to relate this smart talk to millennials to make it seem like more connective, and that millennials are super smart. I'm like, I mean, I didn't disagree. I'm just like, the dialogue came off way too. We could
definitely
presumptuous.
Yeah, presumptuous. I like that. That's pretty proper. That was my biggest problem. Is like, yeah, okay, I get it. They're both intelligent, but they're talking like they're trying to prove that they're intelligent. Who gives a fuck?
He's honestly, from what I can gather, not that intelligent. Like, he's not dumb, but he's not super smart.
It's kind of what I say about Devin. I know you don't know Devin, but Devin is a really intelligent dude, but not from his own thoughts.
Right.
He's the kind of guy that he'll read something and basically verbatimly will tell you what was on that entire thing.
He's a parrot.
Yeah. But he doesn't come up with his own thoughts and conclusions about things to make his own opinions or thoughts. It's basically just taking something from something and then spitting it out for factual. And it's not bad necessarily, but
he's just reciting other people's thoughts.
It'd be better if he actually like grasped all of it.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I got from this kid, Mark. That's all he does. He basically just reads all the shit and then, because he has the time, and then just spits it back out, thinking that gets his own stuff. And it's not until he starts to ask certain questions that you start to, which he's asking questions all the time, but a lot of it's just nonsense. Until you get certain I think there's like maybe 3 moments where he's actually asking legitimate concerning questions. One is about the singularity.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do as math teacher?
His fucking high school math teacher.
Right. It's like, are you in my class? It's like, yeah, I've been sick a lot. I don't think you're in my class. But there's another one he's talked about to, what was it? His, the girl, Margaret or whatever, and I can't remember what I was remembering, but he tried to bring it up, and basically she blew him off like, that's not that special or something. I think it was right before she talked about the shape of the fourth dimension.
Oh, when they're handing out money into the greeting cards?
Yeah. He I think brought up something that...
Oh, well, he starts talking about how time is the fourth dimension, and like maybe that's like why they're stuck in the same day or something. Like that's what brings up the fourth dimension talk. Is
maybe that's not what
he starts thinking
about
time being the fourth dimension. And she's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where I was like, forcing this.
Basically, what I'm getting at is I felt like the dialogue was not organic. It wasn't genuine. There's no way I'm going to believe that these fucking kids think this way or talk this way naturally.
Right.
No. Not in conversation.
Even under the circumstances of them being stuck in this time loop for how many years? Even just bringing it up,
Honestly,
because I don't. Yeah,
Well, it certainly hasn't
'Cause
helped their
they're-
emotional growth.
but
so I
here's the
don't
thing:
think-
it apparently really didn't make a difference for the Mark guy because he's apparently just an asshole anyway.
yeah, I know.
Before this whole time loop, because he's self-centered. So yeah, no, I don't like. He was like
No,
that
I
before.
agree with you. I just wanted to. That's. I think I just asked that to poke fun at them trying to justify them writing this dialogue. Probably is how they were like, they've been here. They're not really 17. They're fucking 30 years old because they've been here. You know.
I did tell Kaylee, like, you know what I'd like to see? She told me, "He's like, well, why don't you just write it then?" I'm like, okay. I was like, I'd like to see a time loop movie where the person in the time loop continues to grow older while everybody else doesn't. And then it's 10 years later.
'Cause
He's been living the same day for 10 years.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yet he grew older. And overnight, he's now 30
Yeah.
years old when he was 20.
Thank
That
you.
would be original.
I had that thought
I don't
as
think
well.
I've ever seen anything like that.
Me neither.
Flight of the Navigator kind of did that in reverse. Kid that gets on the ship and he shows up like
Oh, that's
I don't know,
different. But
10 years later,
I
and
see
like
what you're
everybody's
saying.
10 years older than him, and he's still like 10.
Yeah, but see, that's common. Like, they always go the young route. Go the other way.
Well, that's not entertaining.
I think it would be entertaining. Be like, what the fuck? Like,
but I mean-
I'm watching Manifest, right? It's the same kind of concept with Manifest. They've been gone
haven't
for
watched
like
it yet.
an
You hear the
hour and a
news?
half, and they've been like on this plane. They apparently went through this wormhole shit or whatever. You don't know yet. And they've been gone for 5.5
Stephen
years.
King wrote that called The Langoliers.
Manifest just got canceled, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that involved or
Mm-hmm.
invested, so I don't care.
And Prince Charming's got to get another job.
Yep.
I always remember that guy as Prince Charming from Once Upon a
Yep.
Time.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Anyway,
Hooker.
continue. That was my little rant about it's just the dialogue. It wasn't
Yeah.
believable in my opinion.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't.
I agree.
I think the
kinda-
most notable dialogue is when the mother is telling Margaret that she's got to accept it and like she'll be okay. And like the concept of time, like I thought that was probably the most well written bit of dialogue. It
Although
wasn't even dialogue, it was a monologue essentially.
I didn't like her answers, like, well, I'm old and I know things, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, please. But
Basically, they
Up
were just
until
saying
then,
it
it
takes
worked.
time, right?
yeah,
That's all they were.
It's basically it's a big run on time heals all wounds.
Yes.
which I've had lyrics from years ago that said, what they don't tell you is time's not on your side.
Right.
And this movie would prove that pretty well, except for the whole loop thing.
What's the old
And
George
that's
Carlin?
why it's a tough fucking uphill battle.
Yeah.
Because it's true, time heals all this and that, but it's not on your side, and it's gonna fucking take a lot longer than you want. Aaron.
What's the old George Carlin? Shut up. It's the old George Carlin bit. I think what they say, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger, but what they don't tell you is that it can also cripple you and maim you.
Yep. Yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you strong. Yep. But you're paralyzed from the waist down from now on.
You pee into a bag.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. But yeah, to your point, the dialogue isn't awesome. It's pretty forced. But for it being a bunch of teenagers, I guess I was willing to look past it. Just because I don't know why. I was kind of just okay with this movie. It didn't bother me in any way. Like I didn't get any real emotional reactions. Even like being the kid in that position where your mom's dying, like even that didn't do anything for me. I was just kinda like, okay, this is how the story goes.
No.
But it was a fine, self-contained story. Like I didn't have to worry about the ending. I didn't have to interpret anything. I got it.
I
I
still
will-
think Mark doesn't deserve it. But.
No, he doesn't. Not at all.
I will admit though, like, yeah, it was a decent film. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
In a big
You guys,
picture kind of thing. More of a nitpicking thing, but
I hope they never make a sequel.
I doubt it.
yeah.
It's
I
just
think the
basically
ending was
an
fine with
ending.
them returning the lost dog. That's what it was, right?
Yep, that's the
I thought
very
that was
last
kind
one
of neat. I don't know.
Kaylee gave me some
callback.
shit.
Yeah.
Kaylee gave me some shit for that one because at the end of the film, because that's how they ended it. The
Yeah.
film was with the dog barking, and I have subtitles on it. It says Chabarka, and I didn't
yeah.
catch that the first time, and
That's
I was like
what they-
Charbaka, ha. It's like Chewbacca, and Kayla's like, "Are you for real?"
You didn't
You're
listen
just
to
now
that
catching this?
conversation when she went to
You know,
game player's house?
Yeah.
I apparently completely didn't catch that.
His name's Chewbacca.
I did zone out a lot
I
of
caught
times
that,
in this
yeah.
movie too.
Yeah,
You guys brought up something, and I was like, really? That must have been one of those moments where I was like thinking about the ceiling.
Thinking about anything else but this film.
So
I'm
one-
sorry I picked it.
Hey,
Right?
it's not that bad. It's
No,
not that
it
bad.
really isn't that bad of a film.
No.
I think the unique parts about this film that make it worth watching is those like perfect little moments that they're talking about,
Mhm.
without trying to tear that apart, and analyze it, and just be a dick about it.
Right.
Yeah, that worked really pretty well for me.
Yeah.
I mean, as super hallmarky as that got,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
it's basically
Some
just
of them
like
when
didn't
she
make
finds
any
the
sense.
pattern.
Yeah.
Like some of them, like some of those perfect moments bothered me because, like, when they're watching the kids light up the treehouse, like, why the fuck is that a perfect moment?
So
Kid-
Kaylee kept bringing that up too.
Child in a treehouse? That's
And
a fucking important moment. What are you
Yo,
talking
they scared
about?
some birds. That
but
was
it,
what they
but it
did.
was turning the lights
Oh.
on. So I think what it had to do was just the enjoyments of, like, you know, they turn the lights on,
I guess
and everything
maybe.
like that. So it's the
I don't
it
know
was
why
less
the
about
the
yeah.
joy of children doesn't make a perfect moment for me.
right,
Apparently.
and I think that's all it was, because Kaylee kept bringing that. I was like, what's the deal with the treehouse? It's like there's two birds that flew away. Does it have something to do with the birds? I'm like, I don't
okay. So
think
it wasn't just me who just was like, "What the fuck is with those
Yeah,
birds?"
but yeah, I was like, oh, maybe they just scared the birds away. I'm like, but they got super excited about it.
They did.
All they did was turn the lights on.
I,
so-
for some reason, was really enamored of the idea of the whole traffic stopping for one turtle.
I like that too, especially because recently I was
Oh,
at
yeah.
the quick trip up here or whatever. and
Yeah.
that 4-way intersection.
Yeah.
I stopped in the middle of that 4-way intersection to have a family of ducks go by.
Nice.
Recently.
legit.
Yep.
But yeah, I like that spot because there was like a Harley
It was
Davidson
like a biker,
guy,
a guy
all
on leathers, like
badass.
down with his
And he was
camera,
like-
fucking.
I don't know. It was just like the whole town was there just waiting for that little turtle. And that was a nice little.
That and
Kayla
when-
said,
moment.
like, oh, it would really suck to be a turtle. I ain't got nowhere to go very fast.
that part, and when they're watching the janitor play the piano, I don't know why
I
I,
love
enjoyed
that
that.
Oh,
part.
yeah.
I enjoyed that part too.
I really liked that part because
He just happy playing the piano,
Yeah.
then sad going back to the mop.
yeah.
Yes.
And that's I think that was more of a
personal.
personal reflection on how
exactly
I feel right
why
now.
I
Yeah.
fucking knew you were thinking. Same here, man.
Yeah, because like every day I wake up, I don't want to go cook.
Fucking I'll make
I don't
a
wanna do
great
that.
beat or write this and that
All right.
song, and then it's like, all right, time to set my alarm and go to
Yep.
sleep so I can go to
Time-
work tomorrow.
Time to go back to the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that there are definitely some that are like, well, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
There's some that made sense, some that didn't.
Once again, they forced a couple in there to fill the.
The angel wings on the van.
well, I got that.
I
was-
got it, but that one felt forced. Like,
I definitely got it.
especially the second time around when she's sitting on the
so.
bench.
That was silly, but
Yeah.
I also got that was also her way of getting the dog and then leading up to
That seemed like a transition in the plot. Like, here we go. We're about to fucking sum it up. It's her story.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
one thing that a film like this, you're dealing with, not to get all like, I don't know,
Emotional.
theoretical, no,
kidding.
theoretical and sciencey kind of stuff, but it really just is a big fuck you to free will, because no matter what, you're dealing with destined path.
Yeah. Well, I think they even talk about that at some point in the movie, don't they?
I don't know if they talked about it, but I do know that he goes, oh, it's another person who has free will.
I remember.
No,
I remember
because
dismissing myself from that conversation in this movie really quickly.
Yeah. I was just, but I don't know. That's time loop films,
Yeah.
Right.
in general.
You can't
Anytime you're
have
dealing
one
with
and not
times.
bring it up.
Preordained.
But yeah, it
you
is
know.
a big fuck you to
Just
yeah, 'cause
free will.
Free will.
predestined. Yeah.
Basically, everything's predestined at that point. I think that's where they really tried to. It comes on that dialogue again. I'll get over it. I'm moving on. I'm not going to bring it back up. That dialogue just really bothered me a little
Apparently
bit.
should.
I just think that it was way too fake.
Yeah. I started getting really tired of the way she was acting.
Like she had absolutely no reason to be so cryptic
or bitchy
or not even anything.
She was
being
being
when Mark first like introduces, she's like, "Oh hi," just kind of go about like it was nothing.
That was her way of being self-centered and self-indulged with her emotions she's unable to handle. Because she's constantly thinking about her mom and what she has to deal with during this and the conversation she's gonna have. So, to me, they related over that like transition, I guess.
There was
her internalizing, so she was being cryptic and distanced because she wasn't. She was unable to deal with her emotions or like.
I think you're on.
I think she was trying to.
She's deflecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for his safety in a sense or something like that.
Well, she was basically. I think you were on point when you were saying that that's where they were connecting. Is she was internally doing what he was doing vocally, like expressing forefront. He wasn't. He was able to hold himself back.
Yeah.
She didn't. She wanted to do it to herself.
Yeah.
That I guess I hadn't really thought of
that. That clicked way. After because I knew every time she would be like, "I gotta go." I know that fucking where you drop everything and you gotta go. There's no fucking excuse that's gonna pull me away from this destination. I knew it was father or mother in a hospital. I fucking knew it.
So you're saying, did you feel that way too? Or did you think it was a boyfriend? Because I definitely did not get that feeling.
I did not buy it for a second.
For a hot second, I thought it was a boyfriend, and then like once I started getting tired of her attitude, and I went, "Is she dying?" Like
that's what Kaylee thought. She's like, "I bet you she has cancer." I'm like,
I either
where
thought,
the fuck did that come from?
Right. I thought she was either dying or for some reason my mind went to, is she committing suicide?
I leaned a little bit, but it didn't stick long enough for me to really.
I didn't think about either of those for too long because I think 10, 15 minutes later we found out about her mom.
Yeah, the cancer thing though, like, is she dying with cancer? That's what Kaylee's like. I bet she's dying of cancer because she pointed out, it's like she barely even did anything until the first thing that Mark said to her when they first met. It's like, "Oh, what have you been doing in time loops?" "Oh, I'm just trying to cure cancer." And there was like a sense of like nothingness, and yet there was plenty to be said at the same time. I guess
the silence spoke volumes.
Yeah, and that's where she like later was like, "I bet she's dying of cancer," and then later on she's like, "Nope, her mom's dying of cancer."
But I knew the boyfriend thing was bullshit because the movie's better than that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, for sure.
That turned out to be the fucking. Oh my god, I would be fucking hating you right now, Aaron.
But I will admit,
so would I.
I will.
We wouldn't be talking about this movie, basically.
Would it just be me raging in my apartment alone?
I will admit, though, that it played out properly for their age and questioning. Yep. But he was being very he was trying to be very nonchalant and subtle, and then abruptly saying it anyway.
Yeah.
Is that, you know what I'm saying by that?
He was trying to be
suave and
suave and debonair, and then just unable to do it. Well, just in general.
Yeah, just
like
in
he
general.
kept trying to be smooth, but then he'd fucking open his mouth like an idiot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And trust me, I know how that feels. But yeah, he literally just he stumbled over his own attempts at being smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like he hit it and then was like, "Oh, he was like, she's not getting it," or like, just fucking go for it, and opened his big fucking mouth anyway.
I don't know. He tried to be smooth. It wasn't working, and then he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna insult her intelligence. I'll just tell her." That's the way I thought of it, to give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's because he was already insulting her intelligence, because clearly she's way smarter than him.
She can draw a cube within a cube.
Well, even when she makes
window.
In a Sharpie.
I know, with permanent marker. That store or owner is not paying attention.
No shit. I was like, who fuck that?
Somebody stop this woman.
So many things where it's like, these things are happening. Like, this is a normal day for everyone else. What's going on?
Right.
Sorry. I feel like I cut someone off.
But in fairness, though, if you were stuck in a time loop just like that, I mean, you're gonna wake up tomorrow knowing that you can get away with doing anything anyway.
They should be worried about it, but I'm saying
where are
everybody else?
Yeah.
Like cops should have been like, "Why are you driving that heavy machinery?"
Yeah.
That is true.
Like,
must be a really small town.
definitely got the feeling that it was small town.
Yeah.
And they only
With a-
referred to it. They didn't give it a name. They just called it a town. In this,
Yeah, it's true.
there
Yeah.
was no sign. There was no name given.
Well, it's not even like there's no reference to anything like a mall or anything like that either. Which, granted,
yeah.
I mean, there's not. I mean, the mall isn't the litmus test for like a big city or anything like that. But even most towns of note have like a strip mall or something like that. This didn't have any of that.
No,
Yeah,
it was
didn't
all.
really feel like it had
It seemed
much.
like I had
You had
one
a downtown,
Yep.
Yeah, it had
One
some
Main
shit-
Street.
had the bookstore, the
Diner.
cafe, diner, the fucking public pool, and the school were like the main like areas they
in a library.
hung out. Yeah, the
bar.
library. Yeah.
Yeah,
By the
definitely.
way, she was drinking an awful lot.
She's miserable.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Why do you think she was trying to buy all those lottery tickets?
Yeah, it's valid.
Did
'Cause, yeah, you see her. Oh, you go.
She's just housing drinks.
I don't know. That whole conversation with the sister was very important to this whole film because
Oh, God,
in
yes.
retrospect, until that point, it's all about him
Yeah.
every moment. And then they kind of shifted, and I don't know. I did like that, even though it was very cliche.
It was tropey, but yeah, I liked it too.
you know, the younger wise sister. I mean, whatever.
How do you know things?
Right.
Psychic powers? Really?
right? Fucking idiot.
Dumber
It-
than a bag of hammers.
It basically, oh man, I can't remember the freaking film. It reminded me of Accepted.
Yeah.
Where Justin Long's little sister is way smarter than
Yeah.
Justin Long, and she's basically the wise one. That's kind of what it reminded me of a little bit.
Yeah, I've
give
always
you a
liked those characters in movies.
Yeah.
Those little
Oh, yeah,
sisters. Yeah, where they just tell it how it is. And
Didn't mind it by any means. It was just as cliche as it
Tropey.
was.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
very
well,
appropriate.
that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for those cliche
Yeah.
moments.
What what would your favorites, if you were to replace like yourself in their spot that they've done that you saw in the film, what would it be like your favorite thing that you'd want to do? Because I was trying to figure out, they did a lot of shit and they showed a lot of things. And that's one thing I will admit about this film is, as much as it's about repetitive things, they went all over
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
the
did
board.
A lot
There was
of
a
shit.
lot of shit that they did and they showed, and it wasn't a lot of repetitive things that you kind of get it after the first maybe one or two times, and they moved on. I did like that about the pace of the film. It had a really decent flow.
Yeah, I did.
I agree. I would probably try the skateboarding, actually.
Yeah,
I always kind of, well, yeah, but see, I never was. I never had the balance. I'm too short. I'm too pudgy. Like, I'd give it a shot.
say that to Wee Man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's valid. He's got a lower center of gravity than I do.
That's true, but he was using a full size board.
Like, I would know that.
You know what I'm talking about? Wee Man from Jackass.
No.
He was a skateboarder.
Yeah, he's the little guy. But no, I never watched it.
Okay, so
Whatever.
you do the skateboarding.
I'd probably try skate because it was always something I wanted to try anyway, like
Yeah.
when I was younger. So if I could wake up tomorrow and not have a fucking broke my arm, why not?
I see the hamster falling off his
Well, once
wheel a little
again,
bit.
I wanted to choose skateboarding, but Aaron fucking
Well,
chose.
then do it. Choose it.
No, it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, that or I'll drive the heavy machinery, one of the two.
Nah,
I've
I
been there, done that.
would really just sit down and help my friend beat that part in that video game.
You know, I was telling Kaylee, he's like, why doesn't he help him? Why doesn't he do it for him? The entire time that
He
kept
was
happening,
selfishly
I was,
talking his ear off
I
for
was
his own.
expecting him to take over. It's like, oh, I'll help you and find the key, and then blah blah blah. That's done. Not once. Even when they dueled it,
Yeah.
he still failed.
He still was
I thought
talking
that was
and
hysterical. It was like he's like, oh, he's helping him. I was like, oh, okay. And then Margaret had to show up and fucking, he's like, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna save your ass.
Right? I did like.
What
that.
are you doing? I'm
I did
saving
like
your ass. Apparently.
that part was nice.
And then when
yeah.
she left, I love you.
that
Then the
made
dog
sense.
makes a noise. He's like,
I was like, what? Don't judge me.
Yeah. You? What would you do, Tim?
You didn't? Did you answer? Just
Yes.
skateboarding? Okay.
I
you
know
get
what
it.
you
You've done the heavy machinery. You've done the skateboarding. So what would you do? Learn algebra?
Fuck that noise.
right? Jesus.
I got better things to
Algebra's
do with
not
my
that
time.
hard.
Well, actually, no. Algebra wasn't really that hard. I actually did decent in algebra if I just would have done my homework.
Yeah.
I'm awful at geometry, but algebra is not that hard.
I did not. I wouldn't do that. There's way more things I wanted to.
They were trying to have fun
So-
here. What the fuck you talking about Eldritch for?
I would definitely probably hike a plane to fucking
Japan.
Japan. But I don't know.
Thanks
There
for
wasn't
looking.
really, to be honest, there really wasn't anything that they were doing that seemed interesting to me that I could already do
Yeah.
or like seem special. I just, yeah.
So you would just work on your drawing, probably.
No, I'm overdrawing. I thought about that because I.
Well, then fine. You would write. You would have to rewrite the same fucking 50 pages every
that,
day. But
so that's the other thing. Yeah, there's no fucking way I would write. Although at that point I would have it all in my head. I could probably
True.
pump down at least something.
Yeah,
'cause
for
at
sure.
that point I'd memorize everything I'm writing. But
True.
I would get tired of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like there really wasn't anything. Maybe I'd probably pull a whole Bill Murray thing and learn how to play piano
Oh yeah. Yeah. that's
because
legit.
I've always wanted to learn to play piano.
Yeah. What
That-
the fuck? He tried to play tuba or the.
He was playing. I think he did play tuba.
Not
No.
really
He's
well,
playing-
apparently.
Yeah, but he was
In
playing
this-
with his sister. Who
Yeah,
was playing
yeah, yeah.
violin.
Yeah, I would
Actually,
probably do that.
You know what I actually
yeah.
really thought would be fun? I wish that I could choreograph it the way he goes to the kitchen in the restaurant. That would look really cool. I don't know why, but I would
I've
try to
been there, done that.
I'd try to choreograph it to where like I could just move in between people and just like not really have anybody flinch.
Isn't that how a good cook fucking moves across the line?
Yeah, when you work with other good ones.
Me and Tim dance. We're fucking ballerinas. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I bet you touch tips afterwards too.
Absolutely. That's what
Is
you
that why
always
you
So
fingered
fun.
my beer?
Yeah.
Jealous.
I mean, Aaron's got a point though. It's when you work with somebody who knows what they're doing too. Because I used to pull
Yeah,
the same shit with
absolutely.
Smelter all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't.
There's plenty of times I've worked with people where like you know,
is
we're
rare.
moving around each other and
Right.
quite the dance. But yeah.
And that's why when me and Aaron worked together, Boulder way back when, like I was a man on a pad. Like I needed to be somewhere. Get out of my fucking way.
Yeah.
I didn't budge. Just moved on because nobody else was doing anything as important as I was.
Right.
So
But yeah, I don't know.
Let's do the rating thing. Aaron,
I thought it was a very sweet movie. I enjoyed it, so I give it a 4.5.
oh man, Jason was taken back. His eyes just popped out of his sockets.
Feel quite attacked. Not gonna lie.
I'm glad the cameras aren't on.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
Sorry, Tim. You want to go or you want me to
Genuinely, his eyes.
Moment of vulnerability over here. Fuck
go? No,
me.
hey. I was just really excited. The first time my rating's not going to clash with yours.
Apparently, the only thing he's rated higher than this was Sweet Tooth.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, didn't you do a 5 for Sweet
I don't
Tooth?
remember.
Or what was it? 4.5 probably.
Yeah, it was 4.5. Yeah.
Oh, so it's
I'm very stingy with my 5s.
apparently.
Generous with your 4.5. You want to go or
Go for it.
2 out of 5? I've tried to get it higher
That's
all
fair.
day long.
No, that's
but
fair. That's totally fair. I get it.
Yeah, I give it a solid 3.5. Honestly, I would lean a little bit more towards 4, but
It's dialogue.
yeah, I really had a hard time with that dialogue. Just the entire time I'm watching it, like the film was good, the writing was decent. It's just that dialogue to me was just. I felt like it just like distracted away from the whole point of what the film was about. That's I guess really all.
Considering who wrote it, do you think he was trying to be as punchy as he was in The Magicians?
I never read the book, so I don't know.
I read a little bit of the
yeah,
book.
who wrote the actual
Lev Grossman.
movie?
He did.
Oh, he wrote the book and the movie.
He wrote
Okay.
The Magicians, the book. He didn't write the series The
No,
Magicians, but he wrote a short story that he based the screenplay for the movie.
Yeah, so he wrote the screenplay and he wrote the short
Gotcha.
story that he based off. So maybe it was an older piece of work too.
It might have been.
So it could have been like when he's first coming out, and old or something. It was
Yeah.
decent. Because like I said, it wasn't a bad film. It was well written,
Yeah.
and it was even better like directed and everything like that. I really did enjoy the film. It was one of those films that I definitely could sit there and watch with Kaylee, and we both were, you know, engaged and enjoyed it and had some moments and stuff like that. But it was just one of those, man, that, like I said, that dialogue really distracted from the whole point of the film. And I think it had a lot to do with the age as well.
Yeah,
There's
probably,
no
yeah.
fucking way. The girl seemed more believable because she said less. And it was this Mark. When he opened
He was
his
just trying
mouth.
to fill.
Yeah, when he opened his mouth, which was almost nonstop, he was
Mhm.
trying to say shit so intelligently and so, you know, like he's super, super big brained that it just fell flat and unbelievable. Because
Sure.
that's how I felt. He to me, Justin Long should have played this person, this Mark guy, because
Yeah.
he would have been a better person to believe.
He was
He's
the
a
poor. He was the
fast
poor
guy.
man's Justin Long.
Yeah. Although I will say he looked like the guy from Ryan something. He was in True Bloods. He was in not True Blood. Yeah, True Blood. He was in Knights of Badass. Done.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
The Ryan guy. I can't think of his last name.
I can't remember either.
But he kind of looks like it could have been like his son or younger brother or something.
This kid did look like a famous actor's son, but I couldn't pinpoint it either.
He didn't do bad though. I actually I
No.
liked the kid.
No, there
I
was
will
He's a good actor. I think it was the writing that got to him.
I will
And-
say,
The girl was from Supernatural, and
yeah, she was
Is she?
yeah,
the werewolf killer.
she was Claire.
Claire. That's what it was. Yep. She goes and kills werewolves
Yeah,
or vampires. She becomes a hunter, but she I
Yeah.
think turned
She-
into a werewolf or something.
she's Cass's daughter.
I don't remember that. Anyway.
Okay, well. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say 3.5 for the most
Alright.
part. I mean, leaning pretty close to 4 though. That's for sure.
All right. Any parting thoughts? Anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No. Said everything I can think of.
All right. Tim, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, this is. We're gonna wrap it up, and this is Aaron Panion.
It's Timothy Bennett.
Jason Chandler.
Thanks.
Peace.